Tonight we're going to do some work with blocks and dynamic blocks, how to create a dynamic block using an existing block. I'm going to start by coming in here, and basically I've inserted a bunch of blocks from the different AutoCAD drawings, from the standard drawings for the toilet, bathtub, a sink, and a stove, and a refrigerator, all looking from up above, basically plan views. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a rectangle real quick. I'm going to make it 1 inch by 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch, which is basically the end view of a 2x4. I'm going to draw these two lines here, and that's just the drawing. I'm going to make it a block. Type the word block. I'm going to pick my base point as the middle bottom of it. Select my objects. Call it sample studs, and I'm going to hit OK. So now if I click on it, it's definitely a block. I can see over here in my block reference. If I double click on it, it's going to take me into the block editor. These are all the different blocks that are currently in my drawing. It defaults to the sample stud. I hit OK. Brings me into this different screen. I have some different toolbars up the top, but it should also open up this palette, the authoring palettes. If it doesn't appear, you can click on it up here in the toolbar and it'll appear. And this allows us to do stuff to our blocks to make them dynamic blocks. So there's a bunch of tabs on the left. I'm going to start here at the beginning with parameters. So right now the block is set to input as an insert into the drawing at this middle bottom point. Let's add a couple more points. So I just pick the point command, I pick the intersection at the corner here, come off to the side, just pick. These items won't appear in our block, so it doesn't matter what they look like. Pick point again, I'll pick this lower corner, I'll pick the middle, and that's enough for now. So now I've added those there, and what those are insertion points that are now available to me when I create the block. So I'm going to come up here and pick Close Block Editor. It's going to ask me if I want to save my changes, and I'm going to say yes. So immediately this has been updated to include those new changes. I'm going to go to my Insert tab, and I'm going to find my sample stud. There it is. When I bring it down, you can see it's coming in at the middle bottom, just like I had set it up to be. But now if I hit my control button, you see, and I hit it again, now it's cycling to the different locations that I set. Midpoint, back to the middle, top right, bottom right, center. So I have that there, boom. So by using my control key during the insert phase, again, insert, stud, control, I can pick different locations. Not a huge deal, but something just kind of cool. So over here, normally you bring one of these in, say a stove, and you can just move it from center here over to here, and that's fine. Same with the toilet and all that. But let's talk about some of the things you can do to it. I have a wall here that's at a particular angle. I don't know what that angle is. So I want to bring my toilet in so it fits and it flips right to the shape of my wall. So I'm going to click on the toilet. You can see it's a block. I double click on it. Editor block box pops open. I hit OK to go to block editor, and boom, there we are. You can see up here that's our insertion point right there. So I'm going to pick this alignment button because that's what's going to allow me to align to a wall that's not in the same direction as my toilet currently is. So I pick alignment. I want it to align against this back wall. And I'm going to come this way. It's asking for a point along this line. And I'm going to come out horizontal. I'm going to pick a point. Now you see how that arrow's pointing down towards the toilet? I want it to point in the other direction. So I'm going to hit Use space to undo that. I'm going to pick it again, alignment. I'm going to pick the midpoint, and this time I'm going to drag my cursor to the right. Put ortho on, and just pick a point along a horizontal line. Now you see the arrow pointing away, and I'll show you why that's important next. So again, I'm going to close the block editor because I'm done applying these changes. I want to save the changes and OK. Now when I click on that block, you see it has a little triangle arrow now. If I pick on that arrow and I come over here by the wall, as I get close to the wall, it should align to the wall. I'm going to try it again. So when you move it, the direction you come into the wall from, I'm going to turn my ortho off. That was what my problem was. So as I move, so if you watch as I pick here, if I come from the outside into the wall here, it's going to face, oh there it goes, it flips over. Now, see, it wants to do that. If I come from the inside, it's going to want to flip towards the inside of the room. So again, that's the alignment portion. So here's my standard bathtub. I'm just going to move it over a little bit. Standard bathtub is 5 feet long. It can also come as 4 feet long, 6 feet long, or 7 feet long, say. So I want to put a horizontal control or a linear stretching control on this block. So double click on it, again, back into my block editor, and there we go. I'm going to move this over. So first I'm going to put a linear parameter on it, and in this instance I'm going to want to stretch the tub from left to right, and I'm going to leave the left end where it is. So when I pick my linear dimension, my parameter, I'm going to start with the left end here, the part that's stationary, and I'm going to go to, actually I'm going to pick it from the midpoint. That's what I'm going to do. And the midpoint. So there, I've created a distance parameter. So now if I go to my action, I want to actually stretch this distance. So I click on stretch. And down here it's telling me to select the parameter I want to stretch. So I'm going to click on the distance. As I move around, I can either pick this end to stretch or this end to stretch. I'm going to go over to this end and I'm going to pick that end because I want it to stretch to the right. So next it's asking me to create a stretch frame. So I'm going to go up above here, I'm going to pick and just do a crossing and pick down like that. And now it's asking me to select those objects. So I'm going to do a similar type frame. I'm just going to go inside of it and pick all the things that I want to extend. I'm going to hit the space bar. So I'm done with all that. I hit close block editor. I hit save changes. So now when I click on the tub, I have a blue arrow. I can click on it and I can stretch or shorten my tub. Now one thing is, you can't get a tub that's 6 foot 3 3/4 inches long. So you want to put some limits on how far you can stretch it. So I'm going to double click on it, go back into block editor. And I have my properties toolbar open, Control 1. So if I click on this distance one, over here in my toolbar, underneath this value set, right now the distance is set to none. So I'm going to pick list. I could do increment, 1 foot increment say, but instead I'm just going to do a list. And the list value currently is 5 feet. If I click on that and go to the far right, I can open up another window. And I can add some distances. So let's say I want to do 4 foot and 6 foot. And those are the 3 sizes that I can have for my tub. I hit OK. And right away you can see these little tick marks that were created. 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot. Close block editor, save changes. I click on this, and now when I click on the arrow to extend it, you see the little tick marks that appear on the screen? It's going to snap to that particular length. And I can do a horizontal dimension and show that it's in fact 48 inches or 4 feet. Pick it again, 5 feet and 6 feet.